Okay. And it is now my privilege to welcome our beloved rabbi and my friend, Menachem Creditor, to come anchor us in some words of Torah.
All now. This is great. Hi, everyone. It is so nice to see your faces and not on Facebook. Not Facebook, please. I mean, it's fine, but it's no comparison to what it is to be in person and to honor my friend, our partner, our leader, Laurie, and to honor Kim as she enters, focusing on the moment of transition right before us. There is so much to say about how this moment in human history and, in fact, this Parsha and this group speak to each other. The world is not less fragile than it was before. Capacity to know it immediately has increased. In the Parsha, it's the longest Torah portion. I could choose really from 17 different topics, but they all speak about one thing: what happens when our dignity is under attack. How people of faith are called to respond in moments where the vulnerable people among us are marginalized and invisible. And though I challenge so many of the gender norms in the name of our tradition, because sometimes we've gotten it right and sometimes we've needed to correct ourselves, it's clear to me that among the leaders and the leadership voices we need in the world are the voices of women. And it is a different voice that is brought when women lead. That doesn't mean men can't aspire to the sensitivity and to the courage. It doesn't, and in fact, we should, we must. Eventually, these questions about the differences in the way gender acts when empowered, those questions should be curious to us. But at the moment, it's a little bit too clear. So I ask you to see yourselves as necessary leadership voices. Obviously, you do yourself select. You are the strength of our community. But I'm asking you to recognize how imbalanced it remains, both in the Parsha and in our paradigm. Some of us have had the privilege of learning with modern prophets, modern teachers. 2 years ago, we learned with Brian Stevenson. And some of us have studied his books, his leadership language, and his call for dignity and civil rights in an era where you can say you believe it, but what you do might be quite different. Stevenson said something that will last with me just before the world turned over, that we were blessed to be in his presence. He said, somebody has to stand when other people are sitting. Somebody has to speak when other people are quiet. I'll say it again. Somebody has to stand when other people are sitting. Somebody has to speak when other people are quiet. If you've been studying Pirkei Avot with me this year, because all I've been teaching every chance I get, you might remember the phrase where we said this 2,000 years ago, maybe not as eloquently, with an awareness of what vulnerability meant, because that text came from powerlessness, and in the aftermath of another great disruption and destruction. Our way of saying it in Pirkei Avot was, B'makom she'ein anashim hishtadel liot ish. People aren't standing up, stand up. That's actually not the translation. That's the way I always translate it. The actual translation is, a place where no one is acting like a man, be a man. Notice I'm not using that translation as my first nor as my last, because ultimately, this is a group that understands that text better than men who said it did. In a place where people are being quiet about things that are wrong, we have to get loud. We need you to be those amplifiers of what needs to happen in the world. Who talks about menstrual justice? Talks about issues that make men uncomfortable. Men don't. Men do, thank God. This is something we need to be doing, and our Parsha got some of it right. We need to get the rest of it right. In honor, Laurie, of you, honor of all of us, excitement about what comes next. Please, if you notice people not standing up, see it as your job to say, stand up. It's